Vitamin D pills deplete your minerals and do not support immune function. Hey, I'm Robin Openshaw. I'm the Green Smoothie Girl online. Taking vitamin D pills appears to deplete vital magnesium, potassium, calcium, vitamin A, copper, and perhaps other nutrients over time. Many people spend years recovering after long periods of taking quote unquote vitamin D. Notice I'm putting vitamin D in quotation marks because it's not a vitamin, it's a steroid. And you should know that these pills are not natural at all. And it's not the 12 or potentially even 17 or more molecules your body makes when you're in the sun. It's just two of these molecules. And they're highly manipulated using various chemical solvent processes. Solvents, in fact, known to cause cancer. Taking these pills may increase a lab result, but may have many negative unintended consequences that harm your immune system rather than benefiting it. One practitioner says he's never tested anyone taking vitamin D pills who didn't have dangerously low potassium levels. Do we have low D levels in America because we're potassium deficient? If so, why not quit eating D pills and just eat a whole potato every day for a long time, since it takes a good while to recover from taking these steroid pills daily for some time? I'm half joking because lots of whole foods contain potassium, not just potatoes. So you know that calcium is critical for strong bones and teeth and many other functions in the body, but taking vitamin D pills also depletes your absolutely critical regulatory nutrient, magnesium, which is profoundly necessary for human health. And the foods high in both potassium and magnesium are the whole plant foods, leafy greens, vegetables, legumes, nuts and seeds, and whole grains. I'm very frustrated that every study on vitamin D levels in the blood that I've reviewed explored correlation and not causation. Low D appears to be a consequence or a correlate of inflammation caused by low magnesium and potassium and other nutrient deficiencies, maybe toxicities, but that low D biomarker is treated like a cause instead of the correlate or effect that it is of inflammation. So 1 million vitamin D pills can be made from the dirty grease from the wool of one sheep. And this is the answer to what we were told is a widespread vitamin D deficiency. Yes, you heard that right. 99% plus of vitamin D pills are made from the grease they wring out of sheep's wool. The supplement makers argue that the sheep is in the sun, it licks the vitamin D off itself, and then they wring the dirty grease out of the sheep's wool to try to extract the vitamin D that was in the sheep's saliva. Does this make sense to you? Do you think God intended for you to get your vitamin D from a pill made from Australian sheep's wool instead of your own skin being in the sun now and then or often? It fails on a logic level for me. But when you understand research and science, any honest deep dive into the research literature also causes the vitamin D pills narrative to fall apart too. On a side note, it appears to me that the vitamin D extracted from dirty sheep's wool is more lucrative to the sheep industry than the wool is. It's actually more valuable than gold. And none of it makes any sense because your body makes vitamin D itself from exposure to sunlight, and you aren't likely deficient at all. Why do inflammatory markers remain high, not addressed by taking the dirty sheep's wool grease pills? And most people are low in potassium, magnesium, and other nutrients when they take these pills. And by the way, a few rare vitamin D brands claim to derive their product from a vegan source. But good luck finding out what the solvents and synthetic processes are that are used in that manufacturing process. I have not succeeded at getting these companies to disclose this. I haven't yet found an isolated nutrient supplement that doesn't use petrochemical solvents to create the product. Vitamin D is not a vitamin at all, but rather it's a corticosteroid and possibly one of the most powerful substances made in the human body. So it matters a lot how much you're getting and from what source. My references page also points you to the Merck manual for what happens to your pet if they actually ingest the vitamin D that you leave out to kill rodents. It takes a week or more for the rat to die as calcium leaches out of the rat's body after eating the vitamin D. But if your dog eats one of those pellets, he's going to get very sick. But you're to take that pill yourself if you believe the Canadian Vitamin D Society, who tripled the amount of vitamin D you're supposed to get in 2010, thereby also tripling its potential customers. Its founder, Dr. Michael Holick, has the patent on both the lab test and the supplement itself, which it appears to me from many hours of research may deplete your body of several nutrients and over time cause harm to your health. You can join a group of 19,000 people on the SECO steroid hormone D group on Facebook, or the magnesium advocacy group of 224,000 people also on Facebook, and both of those are found on my references page. Both groups have put together extensive references of their own showing how problematic taking these D pills can be to human health. I've linked to both groups in my references page, as well as their own compilation and analysis of the research. Saying low D is the cause of anything is like saying that flies cause garbage. All the studies showing any benefit of having high D levels in the body or taking the D pills are essentially assuming, metaphorically speaking, that because there's flies in garbage, the flies cause the garbage. That's what's getting correlation and causation mixed up does. And it creates massive profits for many industries who falsely assign causation where correlation is clearly more likely. What they're calling the cause may actually be an effect instead. And most of the studies actually show harm or no benefit. If you believed someone who told you that the evidence on vitamin D is positive, you owe it to yourself to do a bit of research yourself. And I'm making that easy for you. I'm not telling you to just trust me on this. The person who told you that vitamin D is helpful probably isn't intentionally lying to you. He or she probably just read the one paragraph abstract of one meta study and hasn't gone into PubMed to review all the meta studies. Again, please don't take my word for any of this. I've compiled a list of references where you can learn about all of this from the published data on vitamin D studies for yourself. Anyone who tells you that the meta-analyses of vitamin D show that it supports immune function may have read an abstract of one study, but they cannot possibly have done a deep dive into this subject themselves. Or perhaps they don't understand that correlation is not always causation, which can cause great confusion for people. I would invite you to look at the evidence yourself. Even if you don't have grad school level statistics background, I still think you can understand it if you want to with 30 minutes of your time reading through my references. I invite you to explore it for yourself, and I am all ears if you write me with how you come to different conclusions. Thank you for following Green Smoothie Girl this last 17 years, and I'll see you next time.